grabar. We're going to start our recording now. And I do want to let anybody know, bienvenidos, sí, buenos días, sí, buenos días. Feliz lunes, happy Monday. We have an open invitation, which is totally voluntary. So I want to start off letting people know whether you're online here or you're listening later. Diana, wave for us so everybody knows which person. Diana and Linda también, I imagine, are helping organize this. There's going to be a little outdoor patio restaurant gathering December 9th. It is totally voluntary, totally not required. December 9th at 11:30, have I got that time right, Diana? At Cooper's Hawk in the promenade, Scottsdale Promenade, little luncheon thing. They have a very large outdoor patio that seats what, like 40 people?
40 tables.
40 tables. So it's a huge
45 or 40
outdoor
tables.
And if you do not feel comfortable eating out, then don't. It's perfectly okay. Nobody's going to think the worst of you. If you feel like you'd like to just meet up for lunch, holiday type lunch, because it'll be December 9th. 11:30. RSVP to Diana, and I'll make sure you got her email in the recap email, and take a little time to ponder it, or go to their website and see what that looks like. So it's anyway, it's just wide open. If you feel like attending, great. If you don't, that's fine too. No pressure.
They do follow COVID protocols. The servers are all masked. And they do sanitize tables between diners.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. So yeah. If you email, then she'll know how many people to make the reservation for. And what do you want the emails to come by for? By first week of December?
By Monday.
Oh, by next week, Monday. That's both close. Yeah. Okay. So by next.
It's just the Monday of.
Oh, the Monday before.
Yeah, December,
okay.
What is that? December 6th.
Okay.
Okay.
December 6th.
Okay, I will put that.
Is this for the Spanish class?
Yeah, just for people in the Spanish class. If you feel like it will not be Spanish class. It's just it's
but we'll only be speaking Spanish, right?
Espero que sí. I hope so.
Right.
Lo más posible.
Cerveza, pollo.
Cerveza fría.
Cerveza pollo.
Al mediodía at noon. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. Okay. Okay. So you're welcome, but absolutely decide based on what is best for you. Not feeling any pressure. Okay, ¿qué vamos a hacer hoy? Vamos a practicar muchísimo con preposiciones. I want to do 2 little breakout groups. So I want to show you on the share screen. Ooh, and I need to get the right share screen up. If you have a printed version of this and you need to say, oh my gosh, I forgot I need that paper. That's what you want to grab in the next few minutes. This was the prep I had sent out for you. And this is one of the 2 little breakout room exercises that you will go into. So this one is going to be just talking about what's in your own environment. So we're going to do this with probably about 3 people, right? So these are just your prompts, and you're using encima de, on top of, sí, debajo de, underneath, cerca de, near, lejos de, far, and fuera de, outside of. So you're talking about what's on top of your desk, what's under your bed. Interesting things with that, I'll bet. What's near your house. You can talk about people or things, right? You're going to fill in a place. El lugar means the place. Fill in the place. Something is far from my house, and then there is, or there's something outside of your neighborhood, whatever stuff. So these are very vague because we want you to just plug in general things. So if you've got that as a file, you'll want to check for that file and bring it up in a second screen. Or if you need to go hunting for that piece of paper, that is fine too. We're going to warm up. Un ejercicio de calentar. A little warm up exercise. It'll be a warm up video, actually. De verdad. You're going to see some illustrations to get you warmed up with this first. Sí, muy bien. Es corto. They're just using things spatially. And we'll have that spatially going on too. And I think as we play this, we're going to actually cut out the first part
Con
because it was
ayuda de
uninteresting.
Justina, ya que ella hizo un video icónico hace algunos años.
Okay.
Quiero ver la sección de los ver ese
Okay,
video. Voy a
he's going to put this girl in various locations and talk about where she is.
poner el link y también pueden ver este mismo video en el canal de Easy German. Y ahora comencemos con las preposiciones en español. Vamos.
Vamos.
¿Dónde está Justina? Justina está detrás de mí. ¿Dónde
Behind me, see?
está Justina? Justina está junto al poste.
What else could you say besides junto al poste? What's a different thing you could say? They don't mean the same thing.
Libro detrás.
Al lado,
Al lado.
al lado. And lado by itself, lado means aside. Yeah? Al lado, so al lado means on the side. You could even say cerca. You know, you could.
Justina está al lado del poste. ¿Dónde está Justina? Justina está afuera de la tienda. La fruta está detrás de Justina. ¿Dónde está Justina? Justina está sentada encima del libro.
And that está sentada just means is seated, okay?
¿Qué hace Justina? Justina está viendo los productos que están dentro del refrigerador.
Dentro de, inside of,
¿Dónde
see?
está Justina? Justina está sobre la calle leyendo su libro.
Sobre la calle, see, she's on the street. And the question came up before we started recording. Oh, I get encima de and sobre mixed up. A lot of times they're interchangeable, but here you wouldn't say encima de la calle. Encima de la calle would be like on top of the street. Yeah, so, you know, okay.
¡Qué peligroso! ¿Dónde está Justina? Justina está en medio del pasillo leyendo.
En medio, in the middle of, but right in the center, right? En medio de.
¿Dónde está Justina? Justina está debajo de las escaleras.
She's under the staircase.
¿Dónde está Justina? Justina está enfrente del mostrador.
And enfrente de, you can also use
Frente.
you can also use frente a, you know, facing, well, if she were turning that way, but also delante de. Delante de means the same thing as enfrente de. Delante de, enfrente de. You can use those interchangeably. Okay.
Y bueno, esto ha sido todo por el episodio de hoy.
Okay. Y eso es todo. That's all you have for your warm up. Muy fácil, muy breve, muy breve. Bueno, vamos a practicar un poquito más antes de antes de los grupos pequeños. Vamos a ver. Un poquito más, una cosita más. And this is very, well, not as pretty to look at, but it's also kind of brief before we go off into our rooms. Okay, and some of these I had to write in some snippets. Can we make un poquito más grande? Sí, un poquito más grande. Es mejor. That's better. That's better. Es mejor. Okay. A ver. Oh, lugares. We've got some places here. Hotel, farmacia, banco, estanco. That's a shop where you buy all kinds of odd tobacco and stamp related products in Spain. You can leave estanco out. It's not a place we would go to a lot. Restaurante, tienda de ropa. You can see these didn't print out quite as well. Some of them are kind of running together. Tienda de zapatos, shoe store, sí. Una plaza, una iglesia, a church, un museo, museum, heladería, a place where they sell
Ice
ice cream, helado, oficina de correos. Sometimes they just call that correos.
Post office.
Post office, sí, exacto. Y a la izquierda, supermercado, kind of cut that off. Supermercado, cine, I had to put an arrow in there again. It misaligned, it didn't print right. Estación de tren, a little train station. Okay. What might you just pick something out to describe and say something is, pick a building. Bien, bueno, di.
La hotel o el hotel.
El hotel.
El hotel está a la izquierda a la farmacia.
Está a la izquierda de la farmacia. A la izquierda de.
La farmacia.
Farmacia. And notice that one is not farmacia, it's farmacia. Yeah, there are a lot of words, but this one is farmacia. Bien, está a la izquierda de la farmacia. Bien, otra observación.
El banco está en medio de farmacia y la farmacia y el estanco.
Muy bien. Bueno, alguien más, somebody else. Cualquier observación, any old observation, but you'll have to take yourselves off of mute.
El supermercado está encima de estación.
Encima de, quizás, maybe, quizás. Kind of hard to know if that's on top of, yeah, this will, quizás detrás de la estación, And it kind of depends on where you're facing too, doesn't it? Yeah. Es relativo, it's kind of relative. Okay.
El museo está cerca de iglesia, or do I say de la iglesia?
De la iglesia, muy bien. El museo está cerca de la iglesia. And notice, again, it's kind of relative. Near, yes. I could have said el museo está cerca de la heladería. El museo está cerca de la iglesia. El museo está cerca de la plaza. Near is kind of fuzzy. You can use that for a lot of things. Juanita.
Yeah. Hay un árbol.
Hay un árbol.
Árbol.
There's a tree.
Junto a tienda de zapatos.
Hay un árbol junto a la tienda de zapatos. Hay, muy bien, hay un árbol. There's a tree. Bien, bien. We've also got, una parada, a stop. Una parada de autobús. Una parada de autobús. So keep that one in mind too. ¿Quién más? Who else had? No?
El
Algo-
museo está en medio la eldaría, eldaría y la iglesia.
Y la iglesia, ¿ok? Bien, ok. Bien, ¿qué más?
I'll try.
Ok.
La oficina de correos está a la derecha, a la daría.
De la heladería, bien, sí, sí. Ok, Jan, ¿tienes algo?
El banco está en el centro de la ciudad.
El banco está en el centro de la ciudad, muy bien, sí, sí. Cindy,
La estación está enfrente del mercado.
bien, sí, exacto, excelente. Trish,
El cine está del cine de Coreo.
perdón, otra vez, I had a little fuzz out.
El cine está lejos de la oficina de Coreo.
Lejos de, far from. Sí, eso también, that too. Ok, vale. ¿Otras observaciones?
El supermercado está detrás de la estación de tren.
Bien, bien. Bueno. Ok. Más o menos, sí, sí. Hicieron bien. You guys did really well. Hicieron muy bien. Es bastante fácil, ¿sí? I want you to grab these now. And now we're not talking about, well, we are talking about some places in the city, but es una mezcla. It's really a mix. So I want to send you off now, and I'll ask if you have any questions. We're going to go off into breakout rooms with just these items first. And this you were able to plan a little bit. So I've got one thing you plan and one thing you won't plan a little bit later. Okay, ¿hay alguna pregunta antes de practicar? Is there any kind of question before you go off to practice this? And with this one, because we're just using está, I don't really feel that I need to segregate people off into a newbie category because this is, we're not using any fancy verbs. So, okay, ¿cuántos somos? Muy bien. Vamos a ver, vamos a ver. Quizás 7 grupos. A ver, 10 minutos, is 10 minutes too long, guys, you think? ¿Sí o no?
Yeah, sí. Sí.
7 minutes maybe? 7? I do time. Okay. Okay, bueno, remember to hit your join button. And you're going to talk about just those prompts I sent you ahead of time. Would it be wise for me to send the prompts off for you to see it in the breakout rooms as well or not?
No.
See or no?
Sí.
Sí.
Okay, well, I'll do that. It'll take a couple minutes for that to kick in, para que sepan, just so you know. Okay. All right, you'll need to hit your join button.
Thank you.
No, okay. We got folks coming back in just a few minutes. It takes a little while for everything to kick in. Okay, entonces paciencia. Yeah, we need a little patience because takes a little bit of time.
Marilyn, I have to tell you, we just got back from Disney World and they repeat the directions of how to ride the rides. And I heard Dentro Day and was like, I heard a new word. It's very
That's great though. I remember, oh my gosh, this is many, many years ago. A girl, actually, she was from a Hispanic family and her family all spoke Spanish, but she understood only, the snippet things, right? Because, from August when we started school till December, after Christmas holiday, she came back and said, I finally understood what some of my relatives were talking about at a Christmas holiday party. Oh, good. Oh, yeah. Oh, that happens. Okay. Bien, bien, bien. Okay.
We have a question actually.
Bien, dime, tell me if you had a question that came up.
Well, in the group, we're kind of like, have this answer about mi casa está cerca del. So we're all talking about the same idea, like nearby the trailhead. So we just wanted to know what is the right word for a trailhead. I said comienzo del sendero.
Comienzo del sendero is probably what I would use. Sí. I'm going to see if there's something more specific.
But Jeff told me there is some other word, right, Jeff? Yeah. It's
yes, I think it's cabezal.
Oh, well,
like cabeza with the L on it, with the L on the end. Cabezal.
Oh, cabezal.
Cabezal.
I can see somebody using that. Also, I could see somebody using a term like maybe la partida or la salida, like the place where you go out from, like a departure point.
La salida, you say?
Yeah, could be, you're leaving, going out to start there. So I could see people using any of those terms for that kind of thing. That would not surprise me. And people will throw out different terms. Sometimes you've got to cobble together from what you hear people saying. Okay. Otra pregunta. Any other questions? Wait.
I have a question.
Sí.
I have a question. What, when you say fuera de, how far outside does that mean? Is it just like close outside, or is it like?
It isn't real specific. It isn't specific. It could be right just outside, or it could be like let's say on the street outside of my house. If the street is maybe 20 yards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not that specific.
Okay.
Just outside of. Sí. Bien. Perdón.
I have a quick question. I was using hay muchas cosas dentro del cajones, and the drawers under the bed. If it's cajones, do you still use del?
Oh,
de
los cojones. Cajones. Cuidado. I'm going to show you a little thing to be careful with that word. Drawers, stuff that you pull it out and there's stuff inside, you shove it back in, we hide stuff. Cajones. Cuidado. Make sure you got your vowels very pure. Cajones. Because you don't want to say that.
Mhm.
Testicles would not be a good thing to say. Testicles would be very bad. Cojones is and used in the very, testicles would not be. That would be one of those things where you could say, not a big deal to make a mistake. Kind of a big deal. Yeah. So
be careful, Cindy.
Don't want those under your bed.
Cajones, cajones.
I wondered
What you want is
what you had under your bed.
cajones. Yeah. Yeah. You know, because yeah, you don't want to know. You don't want to go there.
So,
Okay. But you know, that shows you a good thing. Some of these little words, boy, if you don't get that vowel nice and pure, you might be saying another word. Now, you don't always get an extreme one like that, but you know, yeah.
Thank you for lightening up our days, Cindy.
I'm glad I could give you something to laugh at.
Okay, Pat, you had a question too. Tienes una pregunta, Pat, no?
When you're describing a clothing store, would it be better to use hay muchas tiendas de ropa or prendas de vestir?
Oh, I would keep it really simple. Ropa.
Okay.
Tiendas de ropa. Sí. Prendas are garments. It's a little more formal. If you're just talking about clothing store or like washing your clothes, that simplest word for clothing is always ropa. And the thing you want to make sure it's always singular, ropa. Nobody makes that word plural. They never say ropas because, we think of, clothing, like more than one. Maybe I need to make that plural. It's always ropa. Linda, tienes una pregunta.
Gracias. Can we go back to the trailhead question real quick?
Sí, sí, sí.
Sí, so I said cinco cabaza de sendero. So cabazas de sendero.
Okay,
So
are you saying cinco, five of them? Are you okay?
Five. So should sendero be plural also, or just whatever word we use for beginning?
Oh, sendero means trail. Sendero is the word itself.
Right.
That means a trail. So, if you want to say this trailhead, which really means the start of the trail. And I'm going to put this in the chat box. El comienzo del sendero. It'll be more like that. El comienzo del sendero. Sendero is the trail itself.
So to make that plural, so if there are multiple trailheads.
Oh, okay.
Is it?
Senderos or
Los
sendero?
senderos. Los senderos.
Los senderos. So
los senderos is plural.
So
yeah.
the el comienzo, however you say that, that's not plural. It's still.
Well, yeah, that probably will if you're talking about like 5 of them.
Right.
If there are 5 near your house.
It would be los
comienzos de los senderos. This is one of those situations, I'll be honest with you, if you want to say trailhead, this is one of those situations where it's probably better to keep it really simple and just use los senderos.
Okay, that's what I was beginning to think.
Because I know we think of the trail, well, the trailhead isn't the same as the trail.
Right.
And probably it's better to keep it simple and just say los senderos. Hay 5 senderos cerca de mi casa. Hay 5 senderos cerca de mi casa. There are 5 trails near my house. And here's how people will often appendage that. I'm not going to say all the time, but often. Por ejemplo, hay 5 senderos cerca de mi casa. O sea, el comienzo del sendero. I mean, the start of the trail.
Right.
O sea is a nice little thing that people conversationally use all the time. And we use it, I'm trying to get this in. Okay, I put it in the chat box. When you want to kind of define something a little more, or you would say in English, oh, I mean, or, oh, like, like, you want to be very Valley Girl, that kind of like. A lot of people will say, oh, there are 5 trails. Oh, I mean the trailhead. Hay 5 senderos cerca de mi casa. O sea, el comienzo del sendero.
Okay.
Bien?
Gracias.
Yeah, see, in a lot of cases, keeping it simpler and not getting, don't let yourself go too far down a rabbit hole of getting too lengthy is sometimes best. Not always, but sometimes best. But these are all good questions. Son buenas preguntas. Okay, otra pregunta. Hay otra pregunta. Tomás, dime.
Dos preguntas, por favor.
Bien, sí.
Garage.
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 That's it.
And this has come up before. It is spelled, actually, I have, and this came up in 2 things because one video showed one thing. Hillary remembers what I'm talking about. There's a video I used for this. These 2 words I have seen, okay, they sound exactly the same, but I have seen them spelled 2 different ways. So there are regional variations that happen even with spelling. But they're both pronounced the same way, garaje. Okay.
Garage.
Y la segunda pregunta, Tomás. Second question.
Is there a translation for butte?
Butte?
Butte, like Papago Butte. So we just spent on Trailhead, so we wanted to know.
Wow. Tengo que buscar. Butte. Uy, hay 3. I see 3. So there are going to be some regional variations here. One of the 3, I don't think is going to be very common. Okay, I'm going to tell you the 3 that I've seen, and one just says el butte, really with a double T, because usually that is not done. So I'm a little skeptical of that, but it's in word reference. And another el otero. There's another one, but it has to do with volcanic, and I don't think in our neck of the woods that would not be pertinent. Yeah. Here is what, okay, colloquially, a lot of people use this word for a hill. And I know a butte is really more specific than a hill, isn't it? It's kind of squared off. Yeah. Colina is the word you usually use for a hill. Colina, una colina. Una colina. And people may use colina for butte. I have never conversationally heard somebody use the word el butte. So I'm a little skeptical of that, but let me see if I can find a different source. And hi. I'm going to stand corrected. El término proveniente de, oh, here's why butte does work. B-U-T, boy, and a double T is, I really took a double take at that because double T is not done in Spanish, okay, unless it comes in from a foreign word. Oh, bingo, bingo, bingo. Butte comes from the French.
Oh.
So there's a Spanish term, cuello volcánico, which means a volcanic neck. But, you know, because a lot of our buttes are not certainly actively volcanic, like, you know, Cumbre Vieja. If you've been looking at Cumbre Vieja in the Canary Islands, like, God, that thing's spewing all the time. Around here, I don't think that would be used to say butte, although that did come up. Buttes. Los buttes son similares a las mesas. Buttes are similar to mesas.
Okay.
Pero más pequeños, but they are smaller than a mesa. A mesa extends for a long, 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 long way. Yeah, whereas a butte is this one prominent thing. Voy a compartir. I'm going to share what I saw with butte here. So, el butte comes from French. And I did a double take. That can't be right, but it's It's a Frenchie-ism. Okay. Y por eso, and that's why. Okay. A ver.
Así es.
Okay. Aprendí algo nuevo. I learned something new. Okay. Excelente. Hay más preguntas. Sí, sí, sí.
One of the question was, there is a restaurant in front of the hotel. And the book said, el restaurante enfrente del hotel. But I wrote, ahí está un restaurante enfrente del hotel.
Well, there are two things you can do. You can either say I, that's a verb by itself. I un, but it has to be I un. It can't be I el. Okay, fíjense. If you use I, the word that has to follow I is either I una, I un, I unos, if they're plural, I unas, if they're plural and feminine, or we can use I with a number. So I just says there is. It just talks about this thing exists. It's out there, okay? I can use hay un restaurante, delante de, enfrente de, you know, with your location. Or hay dos restaurantes. Maybe you've got more than one. We can use I with a number. We can use I with that general un, una, unos, unas. We can never say I, el.
I didn't know that.
La, los, las can't match up with I. That will sound very, very funny to a Spanish speaker. Okay. Or we can say el restaurante está. El restaurante está. The restaurant is located. And está is a little more specific type of verb than ahí. Está says this is located. Okay.
So if we use the word I, then we don't use the esta.
No, we don't combine those. They're two separate verbs. I just says that something is out there and it's very vague. It's around, yeah. But we can't combine I and está next to each other because that, again, would sound really goofy to somebody. You either use I, there is, or está for, and está is a little more specific because it literally is signaling to somebody location, you know, more specifically. Okay. Buena pregunta, buena pregunta. Más preguntas, more questions. ¿Sí o no? Cindy, dime.
If you're using the numbers or one or two with I, you can use mucho, muchas.
Sí, you can also use muchos, muchas. Sí. Or algunos, algunas, some. Yeah, you could, hay muchos, there are many, hay muchas, hay mucha gente. Por ejemplo, hay mucha gente en el parque. There are a lot of people in the park. Gente is a feminine word. Hay mucha gente en el parque. Hay muchos niños en el parque. Hay muchos árboles en el parque. Hay algunos, hay muchas montañas.
Unas montañas.
Hay unas montañas, sí. Hay algunas cosas. There are something. Quiero hablar, hay algunas cosas y quiero hablar de algunas cosas. Sí. Okay, Nora.
What's the difference between algunas and unas?
Not much.
Okay, that's interchangeable.
Yeah, pretty interchangeable. Algunas, yeah, they both translate as some. You know, okay, and this you just have to get a feel for. So for example, it's very common when I ask you, ¿hay alguna pregunta? Is there some kind of question out there? Is there some question? And it's, I want to say maybe a little more specific than using un or una or unas or unas.
Okay.
But Yeah, you just get a feel for that. It's just a turn of phrase. It's what is used. Okay.
Okay.
Bien. Otra pregunta. Any other question? ¿Hay otra pregunta o no? Okay, here is our off the cuff. Oh, we've got an off the cuff. And I've got to figure out yet how to make this a better way to make this bigger to get my tabs out. Uy, qué más. Bien. Oh, está bien. This is pretty good. Okay. Vale. Voy a compartir. I'm going to share this with you, and I will share it when you get into the breakout room. But we want, es una previsa. This is a preview. See? Vamos a ver antes de practicar. We're going to see this before we send you out to practice. I've got things. Es una foto. Es una foto. Aquí, ustedes tienen una foto de una cocina. Es una cocina muy, muy, muy linda. Wow, this is really pretty. Es una cocina muy linda. I want you to, off the cuff, talk about where things are in relation to each other. And I want you to kind of see that there's no way for me to tell you this is a wrong expression or it's a right expression. Everything is relative when you're talking about prepositions, right? If I want to talk about las lámparas relative to el mostrador, the counter, right? It'll be different than talking about las lámparas and quizás la puerta, maybe the door. Okay, if I want to talk about el fregadero, the sink, the kitchen sink, the word I use to describe a preposition talking about el fregadero might be different if I'm talking about la puerta or el gabinete, or might be different from el perro, right? La distancia es distinta. La distancia es distinta. The distance is different between those items. So there are going to be a lot of things you can play with, you know, above versus below, versus near, versus far, versus to the right, versus to the left, versus in front of, versus behind, right? We might have detrás de, delante de, or enfrente de. We might have cerca. We might have lejos. We might have a la izquierda, a la derecha. We might have, you know, right, sobre, we might have, we might have encima de, we might have any rich, you know, you can combine these in many, many, many different ways. Okay, bien. So I do want you, however, to pick some of these items, and some of them you know, but some of them you may not. Algunos son obvios, otras cosas no son obvias. Other things might not be obvious. Los gabinetes, cupboards, see? Los estantes, shelves. We could use that to talk about these back here. We can use these to talk about these back here. Aquí, bien, sí? Las lámparas, la puerta, el fregadero, kitchen sink. Bien, sí? El mostrador, counter, las sillas, bien? La mujer, la hija. La olla, the pot that's here, see, en el estufe. La olla. La olla, sí, la olla, la olla. Bien, la olla, la olla. Bueno, so I want you next, and you're going to be riffing. You're going to be going spontaneous, but, you know, pick some items and use some prepositions to talk about what is near. And I want you to use está, because gabinetes will use están, right? Lámparas would use están. Sillas would use están, plural, ¿verdad? Plural. But la hija would be está. Oh, la hija y la mujer would be están if I talk about the people together, right? La olla would just be está. El fregadero would just be está. So I want to make sure you're using está or están and talk about any of those things. And you have many, many ways you can combine those. ¿Entienden? ¿No? Bien. Okay. Para esto, for this, I think, 5 minutos, quizás. Sí. Bien. 5 minutos. I'm going to stop the share on that. I will send that out to you in the share screen into your breakout rooms. I want you to try one more time. ¿Hay alguna pregunta antes de empezar, before starting? Do we have any question?
No.
No.
No? Okay, because many times, I wanted to have one prepared thing and one spontaneous, because in real life, that's what happens. Okay. Bien? Okay. Una vez más, one more time, and you can describe anything in that picture that you want. Make sure to hit your join button. El botón que dice join. Bien. And when you get in, we'll be getting that picture shared out. And Dee, do you have your join button pressed yet?
Yes.
Okay, it's just taking a little bit of time. Okay. Yeah, and I don't know why it put me in a room with you guys, or else your join button isn't working.
My join button.
Y no sé por qué. I don't know why that's happening. You can practice with me if you like. Can you see the picture? Oh, okay. Jan managed to get in. Could be a Wi-Fi thing too. If you can't get in, Dee, then just practice with me until it lets you in.
Okay, I'm gonna have to, I can't even get rid of the join.
Oh, wow. Okay, so just practice with me. No importa.
Okay.
We're gonna go with it.
That's fine. Okay, but it's in the kind of in the middle of everything, which is sort of annoying because I can't get rid of it.
Oh, the join button? Are you on an iPad?
Button and you are inviting me to join room 6 is in the middle of everything.
Oh.
Yeah. So
can you see the picture at all or no?
No, I can't. I can't get rid of it. It's like it's stuck.
Okay.
Okay, well, I could do some of them.
Okay.
Las sillas están en la, and I know this from a previous one that I did. Están en la, wait a second. I've got this from a previous one. And else, no, wait. Las sillas están en el suelo.
Están en el suelo. They're on the floor. Sí, se puede decir. You can say that. Están en el suelo.
And here's one that I was going to say. La chica está sobre la mostrador. Sobre el mostrador.
Muy bien, Dee. Sí, la hija está sobre el mostrador. Muy bien.
El fregadero.
Muy bien.
Está lejos de el perro.
Está lejos del perro. Sí, muy bien, muy bien.
Las lámparas. Las lámparas están encima del el mostrador.
Encima de, sí, sobre, because they're kind of hovering over. Sí, bien, okay.
Let's see.
How about los libros? The books that are behind the woman.
I can't really see them.
Oh, okay. How about, a ver, momentito. How about telling me, Dee, that the chairs are in front of the counter?
Okay. Las sillas están enfrente de el mostrador.
Del mostrador. Del mostrador. Muy bien. How about telling me, Dee, that the dog is to the right of the woman?
Sí. El perro está a la derecha de la mujer.
Okay, now I'm going to correct you on one little thing because this is going to be something that is kind of a big deal. We don't want to say a la derecho. Look at my mouth, a la derecho. We want to say a la derecha.
A la derecha.
Right, because derecho and derecha, even though they're only different by one letter, are very, very different. It's exacto, muy bien. ¿Te acuerdas de la definición? You remember the definition. Derecho means this direction, right? Yeah, straight ahead. And a la derecha es muy distinto. That is a really different direction.
Sí.
So you want to make sure you get your pronunciation really, really pure on that one. A la derecha.
A la derecha.
A la derecha, because that is one of those things that they will not, that will mess somebody up if you're talking to them. Yeah, okay. Yeah. And also mess you up if they tell you, they give you directions and they're saying derecho and you're thinking, whoa, now you're going in the wrong direction. So cuidado, no? You got to be careful about that one. Okay, bien. Excelente. Where is the little girl relative to la mujer, la mamá?
El chica está a la izquierda de la mujer.
Exacto, muy bien, exacto. Okay. Vale, bueno, sí. What if we want to say the door is behind? Well, it's not really behind anything, is it? Oh, the door is next to the cabinets. Gabinetes, cabinets.
La puerta está cerca de los gabinetes.
Bien. Or we could say al lado de los gabinetes. Or we could say junto a los gabinetes. So you can see there are different combinations you can use. See, hay otras combinaciones. I'm going to add a few other things and let's see if you understand them from me saying this. Hay muchos platos sobre los estantes. Hay muchos platos sobre los estantes.
Estantes. Sí. Hay muchos platos, many plates on the shelves.
Sí, exacto, muy bien. Y también, y hay una lámpara sobre el fregadero. Hay una lamparita, lamparita.
Hay una lamparita ¿sobre qué?
Sobre el fregadero.
Sí, aquí.
Bien.
Sí, hay una lamparita, small lamp, sobre el fregadero.
Fregadero, sí, fregadero. Okay, bien. I'm going to take the stop share off and we're going to bring everybody back.
Okay.
¿Qué pasó? Close the rooms. I want to talk about here and there stuff when we're done with this. Y bien, excelente. Muy bien, muy bien. A ver, I'm going to bring that up so that as we come back in, we can see that. I need to see that most people would come in. We've already got a little lag with getting into the, coming out of the room. I have to wait for all that electronic stuff to send everybody back in here. Al Salón Grande, to our great big room. Unos segundos más, a couple more seconds. Okay, a ver, bueno, ¿cómo les fue? How'd it go for you? ¿Bien?
Excelente.
Excelente, muy bien.
Muy,
Me alegro.
muy divertido.
Muy divertido, bien, bien. Ok, es otra cosa. Y esto es como la vida real. This is like real life. Yeah, you walk in somewhere and you just have to go on the fly. That's what really happens. So I wanted to very carefully give you the prepped one first and fly by you the seat of your pants second. Yeah, sí, segundo. Porque es más difícil. We never do the hardest thing first. Always the easier thing first, right? If I ever do that, yeah, beat me with the wet noodle. That's, yeah, you know, that's a bad practice to give somebody the hardest thing first. Sometimes we language people inadvertently, unintentionally make a mistake with that. Okay, bien. ¿Hay alguna pregunta después? A question after this. Sí, Juanita.
We're coming into this discussion about the, you know, about sobre. You use the, because I make, you know, this sentence, las lámparas están sobre el mostrador.
Sí, me gusta, sí.
So can you use sobre or do I have to use arriba instead?
Oh,
because is it like sobre is like touching
Entiendo.
that?
Entiendo. I understand. You could say arriba, están arriba. Yeah, they're up. They're yeah.
Above.
Arriba
Okay.
means like up. Yeah,
Above.
and that works. That works too.
So
that
it's
works
not
too.
sobre. So that's the perfect one
Sobre
is
is
arriba.
fine. No,
Sobre is
no,
fine
no.
too.
I would say not a perfect one. Perfect, no. Sobre works just fine. Sobre works just fine.
Would
Okay.
encima work there as well?
Otra vez, Catherine.
Would encima de work there as well?
Encima would work also. Sí, se puede. Yeah, you can say that too. Sí, está
Okay,
bien.
so
But we
it's-
probably wouldn't use en
okay,
because en would mean something like there's something with a base.
right on top of it.
Yeah, eso es. That's it. Yeah.
If
Okay.
you say arriba, does it arriba del mostrador or just arriba?
Arriba. Yeah, I would just say están arriba. They're up there. Yeah.
Okay.
So arriba el
They're up.
mostrador. So
Yeah.
it's just arriba el mostrador, like
I would
sobre el
just-
mostrador, arriba el mostrador.
Yeah. Arriba, I would just say arriba. They're up. And I wouldn't even use mostrador. I personalmente,
Oh.
I wouldn't. Yeah. But sobre el mostrador, sí, encima del mostrador están bien. They're fine. Bien.
Okay.
Okay. Otra
Gracias.
pregunta. Sí, de nada, de nada. Otra pregunta o no. ¿No? Ok. Bien. Bueno, I want to seg over to this idea, and you'll notice everything is very relative to space. Everything in our lessons has been relative to spatial things by plan. You had a little video by Danny on those here and there words. We're going to do a little practice with this because it's kind of that is kind of a problematic thing, and hopefully you had time to watch this video. I just want to show you. A ver, ok, momentito. Claro don't know exactly when we're going to get to it, but I'm going to show you not the whole video because I did assign this, but just as kind of a refresher, because we're going to talk about this and do a little bit of practice with it so that you know what we're talking about. And this, I was very specific on this video because he says something and it was very fleeting, and I don't know if you got it, so we're going to watch just that part of it.
He is right here. It's a specific place.
Okay, let me back up just a bit more.
Here and then
Okay, all those words for here, there, but not too far, there a little farther, and way out there really far. These again, and these are fuzzy. These are again fuzzy location words, and these tell where things are spatially relative to, well, you know, whatever it is you're talking
we'll
about.
go
So
to
I'm going
there.
to
So here I can either say aquí or I can say acá.
Now, what's the difference between aquí and acá? And that depends on where you are regionally. And also there's this little snippet you can remember. Acá is often used with verbs of motion. So when somebody does this,
I'm here.
hand motions to you, venga acá, venga acá, venga acá means come here. Come is a verb of motion. To a little kid, ven acá, come here. Or to an adult, venga acá. With a verb of motion, you'll hear acá more frequently than aquí. You'll hear aquí more frequently for stationary stuff. Okay. So that's one thing I want to show to you because it was really important, but it kind of slides by you and maybe you didn't know how important it was. And okay.
Okay, so with aquí, we've got an accent on the I, and with acá, we got an accent on the A at the end there. So what's the difference? Aquí is right here. It's a specific place near the speaker. It's kind of like right here, specific, okay? Now, acá is more general here. It can be around here. It can be in this area. It can be.
Yeah, okay. Now that probably was clear as mud for a lot of you. However, it is, I'm going to say, a relative thing. Por acá, and used with the word por. Por acá means around here. And if somebody says, oh, it's around here, do you know exactly where it is in English? You still don't. Even in English. Oh, it's around here. A block, a mile, in the same strip mall? Where? Donde? Okay, and you just know from context. Just like in Spanish, you know from. So por acá would mean like a more general area, where aquí would be more specific, like right where we're standing. Okay, so think of aquí as right where we're standing. Okay, aquí, right where we're standing, and acá will be more general. Acá is often for verbs of motion, movement. Okay.
You know, just generally here. All right, so that's the difference. Aquí and acá mean the same thing. They mean here, but aquí is more specific, like right here. Okay. Now, with allí and allá, we have three different words. We have allí, A-H-I, with an accent on the I. We have.
And we don't pronounce the H in that, remember. So it's ahí, 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 or allí. The next one, allí, allá. There's a real difference between allí. So here's what I'm going to tell you. Break it down. Allí and allá, the middle one and the bottom one, very different. Allá is
further away.
Yeah,
Over
far. Again, though, it's kind of relative. Allá will always be something that is out of reach. Like we've got words in English like over there or yonder, if you grew up in a certain part of the United States, yeah? Over yonder. I never grew up using that, but some of you may have heard it, or you've heard it in the movies or whatever. Well, that's what allá is, yonder, over there. There's a difference in English between, there's a difference in that subtle idea you're communicating between there and over there. Yeah. Over there means, yeah, you know what I'm saying. Okay.
Allí, A-L-L-I with an accent on the I, and we have allá with an accent on the last A. Now, these three words, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, they're kind of disputed. All right.
And that went by so fast. They are disputed. This is one of those things. Okay. So what I'm telling you is, don't worry a lot. Don't fret over the difference between I, A-H-I, and I-G, A-double-L. Don't fret over that. It's the NBD, no big deal. Okay? So don't let that like get in your head and become all, don't. Close enough. Close enough. But allá is different, and allá is going to imply distance. And when he says they're disputed, you get somebody from the north of Mexico and their interpretation of I and allí might be different than somebody from Colombia between I and allí. So when he says they're disputed, that's what he means. People from different countries or different regions within the same country may interpret those words somewhat differently. So here's what I'm telling you. Don't sweat it between I and allí. Don't sweat it, okay? But do sweat a little between the difference between allí and allá. Allá is always going to be further, okay? And even then, you don't have to sweat it. You just know it means further. How much further? I don't know. Could be a mile. Could be 20 feet.
Okay.
Could be 5 yards. But allá, okay? I also want to let you know, sometimes this thing of allá can even be, you can extrapolate this to say it's talking about times long gone.
Another country.
Yeah, distances in time as well. Para que sepan, so you know. But for you, as the person traveling, you know, just know that allá is
not as
farther.
much allá, because everybody seems to be on the same page with
Everybody's
that.
on the same page with
But
allá.
with ahí and allí, there seems to be some varying opinions across the Spanish-speaking world. Now, we know that allí is there, and it's kind of near the listener. Now, here's where the debate comes in. Is allí with an H and allí with the double L, is it really different? Some people will say, allí with an H it's there, kind of near the listener. Allí with the
Listener, meaning the person you're talking to. If you're talking between two people, okay. So aquí will be near the speaker, the person talking, and ahí will be near the person that you're talking to.
The double L is just a little further away.
And allí will be a little further away from both of you, okay?
And then we all agree that allá is just further away. It's just away from us.
Okay, so there's the nutshell. Don't get in a bind over I and IG, and there are people who will dispute what is appropriate with that because there are regional differences. But let's take a look at maybe practicing these a little bit. Vamos a practicar un poquito con la distancia. We're going to practice with this. You're going to see it. Van a ver dentro de un minuto donde está. Está aquí. Okay. Está aquí. It's right here. Oh, no. Está ahí. It's over there. Okay. A ver. ¿Dónde está la pelota? Where's the ball? Aquí, ahí, allí, allá. you see it represented spatially there. Okay. So you can see that ahí, well, even ahí and aquí are not all that different, right? But I think that thing he said about ahí, if you're talking to two people, that ahí will be maybe closer to the person you're talking to. That's maybe a good rule of thumb. But these are definitely relative, although allá is not very relative. Allá is out there. Okay, a ver, vamos a practicar aquí. ¿Dónde está el libro? And they're going to show you something spatially. And you have to just have a feel for this, okay? El libro está aquí. ¿Dónde está el libro? And now we're going to shorten to it. We're going to shorten it. We're not going to say el libro está. We're just going to say está, because that's what people would normally do. ¿Dónde está el libro? Está aquí. I want us to put it in está. Está aquí. And when you hear somebody say it, está is going to, the a from está is going to run into the a of aquí. And it's going to sound like this. Está aquí. It's going to sound like that. Nobody's going to say está aquí. Nobody's going to say that. Está aquí. It's going to come out that fast. So I want you to hear how that a at the end of está slides into the a that starts aquí. ¿Entienden? Understand?
Sí.
Está aquí. Está aquí. Okay. ¿Dónde está el lápiz? Está allá.
Está allá.
Or allí.
Está allí.
Está allí. Está allí.
Está
Okay. ¿Dónde está el reloj? Where's the clock?
Allá.
Está
allá.
Está allá. Yeah,
Está allá.
it's off there. Yeah, está allá.
Está allá.
¿Dónde está el periódico?
Está aquí.
Aquí.
Está aquí. ¿Dónde está? Well, people may call this different things. La papelera, little paper waste can.
Está ahí.
Está
ahí.
ahí.
Está ahí. That might be that ahí, with the H.
Yeah. ahí.
Would allí like totally mess somebody up?
No.
No. See what I mean? You gotta like not let yourself get tied up with it. Don't let yourself get bunched up with IE and IG. There's not even that big a difference in the way they sound. So is it really going to mess somebody up? No, it's not. So don't fret over it. Okay. ¿Dónde está la cámara? ¿Dónde está la cámara?
Está allá.
Está allá. Está allá. Ah, ¿dónde está la llave? Key.
Está
allí.
Está allí. That one is definitely going to be IG because that's too far out to be IE. IG. Okay, vale. ¿Dónde están las tijeras? And now we can't say está. We have to have están.
Oh, están.
Ahí.
Están aquí.
Están aquí. Están aquí. Están aquí. And notice we're not using acá because not around here. Están aquí. Están aquí. And notice tijeras has this blade and this blade. So tijeras is always even though it's one thing, it's plural because it's got two blades. Yeah, it's like pants have two legs. Scissors have two blades, okay? Están aquí. El calendario. ¿Dónde está el calendario?
Está allá.
Está allá. Está allá. Okay. ¿Dónde está el disco, el CD?
Está
allí.
Está allí, yeah, that'll be allí. Okay. La impresora, printer. ¿Dónde está la impresora? Ahí or allí, either one of those will work. ¿Dónde están las gafas?
Allí. Están allí.
Están allí. Allí. ¿Dónde? And then, they use a Spain word here. I would use la computadora. I am not used to using ordenador, which they use in Spain. ¿Dónde está el ordenador o la computadora?
Está aquí.
Está aquí.
Está aquí. Está aquí. Está aquí.
Una pregunta.
Sí, dime, Nora.
In the questions we had when you said what's outside your house, and we all talked about trails, would those be, because we can see them maybe, but we can't, you know, what is that? What is that trail? Would that be acá or ahí?
Ah, if you can see it from your house, I would tend to say está por aquí, está por acá, está por acá. It's around here. Está
Oh,
por acá would mean it's a, yeah, now you've got that general idea. Oh, I can eyeball it from where I live.
okay.
Está por acá. Oh, it's around here. Yeah. Now,
Okay.
would it be wrong to say está por aquí? No, it wouldn't be wrong.
Or the ahí.
Or maybe yeah, you know,
It doesn't,
these are kind of relative. Yeah.
but the por acá, I like that. Por
Yeah.
acá.
But okay, it's around here. It's around here. Yeah. Okay. Bien, ¿entienden?
Sí.
I don't think we need massive practice with that. Just know it's spatial. Here and there is spatial, but that over there is a definite different category. And you're going to find out the next set of words will also, that we're going to tackle, because I'm going to give these to you as homework. The next set of words are words that are also spatial. They're not prepositions, but they're related to space, okay? And where things are located. Space is used in many different kinds of words. So the words we're going to take a look at next are going to be oui, donde. This, these, that, and those. Because they relate to spatially where something is. But unlike prepositions, these particular words, they're called demonstratives. I don't care that you know that. Why are they called demonstratives? Because they demonstrate that something is in a, where something is relative to the people who are speaking. Okay. And this, that, these, those do relate to space, even though they're not preposition. This, that, these, and those generally are more adjectives. Ooh, and that means we're going to have all different forms of the words this, that, these, and those. And the words that you see on this screen are just the feminine words. I'm going to send you off with a video to watch about this. And he's going to use that term NBD, no big deal. Because sometimes we have no big deal ideas. So we're going to kind of start this idea and have you watch a couple videos on it, I think 2. But here's what I want you to focus on. It's a little mnemonic device. This, this and these have got T's. The words in Spanish are spelled almost exactly alike, except for that word T, or that word, that letter T. This and these have got T's. That and those, no T goes. And an A for far away. That is a little mnemonic device. This and these have got T's. That and those, no T goes, and an A for far away. That's the little rhyme that people remember to pull these words into the right categories. Okay, so the word for this might be este, if it's talking about a masculine thing, because now these words are going to have to match up with the things they talk about. It might be esta, if we're talking about a feminine thing. Esta pluma, esta servilleta, this napkin, este libro, this book, este libro. But you're going to hear in the video, he's also going to talk about this word, esto. And you would look at esto and think, it's got an O on the end. It must be.
Masculine.
It's not. Oh, crap. Okay, it's not. It's not masculine. I know it looks like it should be, but it isn't. Esto is what we call one of the very few, very fleeting and few neuter words. It is neither masculine nor feminine. And the video is going to talk about that word in a more general sense, okay? So sometimes we use that in a neuter form. Okay, now, este and esta are going to have plural forms as well, okay? We're going to take a look also at this word, ese. That and this and these mean they're close to the person who is talking. This and these, in English and in Spanish both, mean they're close to the person who is talking. That and those tells you that something is further away. That and those, no T goes. We take the T out of that word. Este, we cut the T out, it becomes ese. Esta, we cut the T out, it becomes esa, that. That usually describes the thing, that pen, that book is closer to the person I'm talking to. It's not right next to me. It's a little further off. Okay, so in English we have this and these, that and those. That and those is a little further away from the person who is doing the speaking, right? Again, Spanish will often utilize this word eso, but it's not masculine. We take the T out, it becomes that. This is a neuter word. The video is going to tell you an example of why we use it, okay? And the A for far away. Spanish has a special that word. Ese and aquel both mean that, but aquel means it's like the allá. Further out. Hillary, see.
No, I don't have a question. Sorry.
Oh, you don't have, okay, I'm sorry. I thought you had your hand. Okay.
No.
Aquel and aquella. You may wonder, why didn't I put a neuter term? There is one, but it's rarely used. You as a tourist are not going to hear it. But aquel would mean that over there, or aquella, that over there, okay? Here are all of the forms. You're going to get this chart in this Google slide set. And this will show you all the different forms to say this or these, it's near me, or maybe I need to say near the speaker. That's a little bit, oh, and now I mess up my, there we go. Yeah, and look at what happens. That stuff in blue is in blue for a reason, because those are kind of like throwing you a curveball. Yeah, a little bit. Notice in the plural, the O comes back, the O comes back, the O comes back, but I don't have an O. I don't have an O in the singular. I don't have an O for the masculine singular. This is odd. Okay, it's an odd thing. But this little Google slide set is going to walk you through this. I'm going to explain in the slide set when we use esto and when we use eso. And there's one specific, the first video I'm going to give you in the email list will also talk about why we use esto or why we use eso. They are generic. That means they'll be referring to a situation, an event, or when you don't know what the thing is. You know, what is this thingy? You don't know, I don't even know what this thing is. And he's going to demonstrate in the video why you might want that word esto or eso. Okay. I think you're going to get it from the videos, right? We're going to talk about why we use eso and esto. And then we're going to talk about some examples of when we go into all those masculine and feminine forms of the words. And okay, bien, why that happens, okay? So you're gonna have 2 videos and the slide set, and we'll come back and practice these. I'll probably, I have to still think of how I'm gonna structure the prompts, but I'll give you a little set of prompts to talk using these as well, and some practice devices to practice these as well. Make sense? See? Bien? Bien? Also, they're words talking about spatially things, but they're talking about where they refer to things. So they're going to go into masculine and feminine because this, these, that, and those apply to a thing talking about if it's close to the person talking, closer to, further away from the person talking, or way the heck out from the person who is talking. Bien? Vale?
Vale.
Okay. Fantastico. I'm also going to send a little video, a storytelling video for you to listen to. And when you listen to the little storytelling video, I want you to go for the gist of the story. Don't be concerned that you don't know every word. I want you to see, can you understand? Because she's going to do drawings and stuff. Even though you don't know all the words, it's going to be okay that you don't know all the words. See if you can get the gist of the story, and we'll come back and play with that at the start of class next week. ¿Está bien? Is that good?
Bien.
Bien, fantástico. Okay, bueno, nos vemos el lunes. We are definitely on for next Monday. Sí. Bien, bien, fantástico. ¿Hay alguna pregunta antes de salir? Is there some kind of question before we take off?
No.
Nada? Bien, okay. Que tengan buena semana, muy buena semana. Everybody have a really good week. We know Danita basking on the beach will really have a good week. So
Gracias.
tengo celos. I'm jealous of Danita.
Gracias.
Okay, de nada, de nada. Muy
Muchas
bien.
gracias.
Hasta luego, ¿no?
Adiós.
Hasta luego.